We're going to jump ahead to the op art weaving exercise, as it leads very nicely on from the previous task, as it's also using shading with a pencil. Now, the first step again is to draw 4 vertical lines. They can be slightly on angles, but not totally wonky. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next step is to draw 6 horizontal lines. Again, this is a little bit tricky to space out, so if you make a mistake, just rub it out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, drawing all of these lines very lightly so you can just barely see them on the page. This next stage is the trickiest part in this whole exercise. You need to rub out the lines to give the illusion of paper weaving. So, you need to rub out these first 2 lines. So it looks like there is a band of paper or fabric going over this section here, and then these 2 vertical lines here. So you have this effect. Now for the next section, you want to do the opposite. So you want to rub out the vertical lines. Accidentally rubbed out. Oops, too much here. And then the opposite, so it looks like it's going over. You might want to just carefully follow along on this task at this stage to make sure you get yours right. Otherwise, it can be quite tricky. And then for the last one here, you can just copy what you did at the top. Okay. Now the next step is to shade in all of the sections that are to be left black. So you can look carefully on the design there, that'll give you quite a good guide. I'll just do that in a sped up version for you now. So you want to get a dark tone, so you're using pressure. I've seen some nice examples actually where this has been done with a marker, so you could try that if you want to. Right, now that you've colored in all of the dark sections, it's time to start thinking about how this weaving illusion is going to work. So I would just go and draw over these lines a little bit so they're a bit darker. These are the ones we drew before we did the shading in. Okay, now for this stage you want to use the tone effect. So we're going from pressing harder to pressing lighter and coming away from what in theory is the top band. You want to try and have a really smooth gradient. So you're going from pressing harder to pressing lighter. And again, going from pressing harder to pressing lighter and fading out that tone until you can barely see it. And this illusion only works if you are using pressure correctly. You can see this starting to come together, and now what you can see here is this one I use lighter shading, and actually it's much more effective when you press quite a bit harder to get some darker shadings. So I'll just go over that and add a bit more emphasis and a bit more tone over there. Okay, post me a picture of your work when it's done so I can have the feedback. Remember to write in your self-reflection comments here and the date of when you did the task. It's very important that you do this section as well as the task. Again, if you're working on loose paper, just write it underneath your task so we have a record of it.